If you have a heart, a head, and a motor aligned, and you have what I just found in the last 2.5 years after going through a divorce, which was traumatic, I found clarity. Simple dude, South Side inner city, grew up, great family, mom and dad, 2 sisters, older. Thought the world was just an amazing place, and my little cocoon of life and by Midway Airport in the South Side couldn't have been better. And then, like most of us, there's a trigger event that happens that's out of your control. And, I had a situation where my mom, I was actually watching TV when I was 14. And I wasn't playing high school baseball. It was in September. And I was home, and my 2 sisters were 16 and 17 years old, their first job. And my mom, I was watching a Cubs game, even though I'm a White Sox fan, because that was the only thing on TV back then. And Wheel of Fortune, going back and forth. And my mom, she was a only child, twin died at birth. Her dad was an alcoholic, and my father had to sneak her out for senior prom. She had a real tough bringing up as an only child. And I think I caught up to her when my grandma passed away 3 years prior to when this was happening. But she started talking to the TV. And when you're 14 years old, you're a I was a sophomore in college, or sophomore in high school, so I was 15 actually. And it's pretty intimidating when your Marilyn Monroe starts talking to a TV. And I'm sitting there, and she's like, turn back on the other station, and she's having a conversation with my grandma, who died 3 years prior, who was my favorite person of all time. Slept in my bedroom, talked sports with me for 5-6 years, and then she passed away when I was 11. So when you see your Marilyn Monroe talking to a TV and having an in-depth conversation with your grandma who died 3 years prior, and you're 14, 15 years old, nobody else in the house, it's a little spooky. You're more afraid for what's happening to your mom, and it's a humbling experience, and it's a little scary. But bottom line is, this beautiful world that I had came crashing down because she was a bipolar, schizophrenic, and the physical mom was there, but the mental wasn't. And people talk about losing the physical person in death. I would tell you, having a physical person there but mentally dead, I think it's probably a little bit more challenging, because you deal with it every day. With death, they're gone, you bury them, and you tend to have positive thoughts, and you carry on in life. Well, you have this reminder of this change every day. Well, I ended up, my dad didn't handle things like, I don't blame him. My mom didn't ask for this, but my dad had trouble dealing with it, and he ended up becoming an alcoholic. My family basically blew up, and this was over the course of a couple of years. We tried to get her help and everything else, but back then you're kind of nuts. You go in the corner, alcoholic, you go in the corner. You don't have all the stages of bipolar, schizophrenia, all the different categories and drugs that are available today. Back then it was just lithium. So, moral of the story is, I go to college, Northern Illinois University, and me and a bunch of guys from the neighborhood ended up just kind of a pack of wolves. We go to Northern Illinois, and student loans, had to fend for myself financially, but the fortunate thing was that my Elvis and Marilyn Monroe trained me from an early age, because they were phenomenal parents up until the point of when my mom had the breakdown. And even beyond that, they did the best they could. Just bad cards. But my dad kicked me in the shoulder first day of summer school when I was 14. There's a well-known fact, or maybe a little-known fact, that the earlier you start working, the more successful you'll be, because you value money and you work ethic. You really get ahead of the game. And 14 years old, I'm working asphalt with my dad, and I really learned. That was the best team I was ever a part of. I learned the value of money and hard work, and I got a nickname from working asphalt with a bunch of Italian guys, and I'm half Italian, half Irish, kind of like Ray Liotta, which a lot of people think I remind them of. But I got a nickname Chooch, which means jackass in Italian, donkey. And most people call me Chooch. They don't even know my name's Dave Calzaretta. Term of endearment, so I'd let it fly because it sounds pretty cute too. Chooch. Girls in college, Choochie. But that whole experience I had with working early helped me carry and provide for myself when I entered college. So I go to college, go away, and have this experience of you're on your own, do or die, and not much behind me, but I know for a fact the position where I'm at today. I always am afraid to think back. If I had that Marilyn Monroe and Elvis the whole time, would I be the guy that I am today? Would I be as aggressive, as fearless, as good of a person you could possibly be? I think when you got your back against the wall, that's when your truest colors come out. So that's the positive side of what happened. But through it all, you go to college, you get kicked out of a dorm for fighting your sophomore year, you get thrown into a fraternity. You can't afford it, but you do it because you have nowhere else to live mid-year. And then you meet a guy in the fraternity, and that, a bunch of great guys, still friends for today, 35 years later. But one in particular where actually I became kind of an adopted part of, I think, the best family on the planet, and that's how I know you. Your wife. That's my niece. She's not my niece, but blood-wise, but she is my niece, title-wise. And I think love and respect are given and abused, so they throw the Uncle Chooch tag, and I'm part of this family, the best family I could ever have asked for, as a result of the challenges I had from the past. They kind of relieve themselves moving forward, and you're grateful either way. But just a simple kid from the South Side that had to face what everybody else faces, and that's adversity. And it's all about overcoming that and just understanding you got one life to live, a sliver of life, and don't be a complainer and blamer. Play the cards you're dealt. A lot of them aren't good, and a lot of them are good, but just stay here, in the game of life. And it's but ultimately, I think when you have when you put it all together, if you have a heart, a head, and a motor aligned, and you have what I just found in the last 2.5 years after going through a divorce, which was traumatic, I found clarity in who I am, what I am, where I want to go, what I want to do in the time I have left, which I have no control over, ultimately.